You are now listening to Sold My Virginity, a full billionaire romance audio. Synopsis: I sold my virginity to the highest bidder, and that bidder was a billionaire CEO with a dark secret. Serena Carter's life is falling apart, with her mother battling a terminal illness and medical bills mounting. She's willing to do anything to save her. Desperate, she makes an unthinkable decision. She auctions off her virginity to the highest bidder. But what she doesn't expect is the winner, Damon Blackwood, a ruthless billionaire with a cold, calculating demeanor. He's got everything: wealth, power, and the connections to crush anyone in his path. But what Serena doesn't know is that Damien isn't bidding on her for pleasure. No, he wants something far more valuable. There's something about Serena that connects her to the Blackwood family's tragic downfall. A secret buried for years, and Serena holds the key to unlocking it. What was supposed to be a one-night deal turns into a dangerous game of power manipulation and shocking revelation. As Serena is drawn deeper into Damon's world of corporate warfare and betrayal, she uncovers a twisted web of family secrets, including her own shocking lineage. But the deeper she falls for Damon, the more she questions whether he truly wants her for who she is, or if she's just a pawn in his quest for revenge. In a world where no one can be trusted and everyone has a hidden agenda, Serena must decide: can she trust the man who bought her, or will she become another victim of his dark obsession? In this high-stakes billionaire romance, nothing is as it seems, and love just might be the most dangerous game of all. Chapter 1. I never thought I'd find myself here, standing at the edge of a decision I couldn't take back. The crowd buzzes with a low hum of anticipation, the kind that makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. My palms are slick with sweat, but I force myself to breathe. This is just a transaction, a necessary step. I'll never see any of them again. Serena Carter, a voice calls out from the stage, my name echoing off the sterile walls of the event hall. I don't look up. If I do, I'll see the sea of people, the eyes on me, judging me, but I don't have a choice anymore. Not with the medical bills piling up on my mother's hospital bedside table. Not when every other option feels like a dead end. I could never afford the treatment she needs. Not with my salary from the art gallery that barely covers rent, much less the life-saving medication she needs. So I'm here, selling something I never thought I would myself. The auction started as a joke, some online forum designed to humiliate women desperate enough to entertain the idea. But what began as a dare spiraled into something more. A solution, an escape. The highest bidder would get a night with me. I take the money, walk away, and hopefully never look back. Simple. At least that was the plan. But now, standing backstage, I can't help but feel the weight of my own desperation. The butterflies in my stomach aren't from nervousness. They're from something darker, something I can't quite name. And the winning bid for Serena Carter, the auctioneer announces, snapping me from my thoughts, has gone to Mr. Damon Blackwood. Freeze. The name hits me like a ton of bricks. Damien Blackwood, the billionaire, the ruthless CEO of Blackwood Enterprise. Cold, calculating, dangerous. The kind of man whose name makes headlines for his cutthroat business tactics and manipulative games. He's a man who would destroy an entire company to win a single deal. And somehow he is the one who's won me. Damon Blackwood, I repeat, under my breath, my voice shaking as I peer out from behind the curtain. He's standing at the back of the room, an imposing figure against the dimly lit background, his expression unreadable. The others in the crowd shift uncomfortably at his presence. There's a quiet intensity to him, the kind that makes it impossible to ignore his dominance. The auctioneer gestures to him, and Blackwood's gaze meets mine. His eyes are cold, icy blue, yet there's something in them, an edge, a sharpness that makes my heart skip a beat. I can't tear my eyes away from him, though every fiber of my being screams at me to run. But I can't, not now. I'm already too deep. He strides forward, and the room seems to part for him, like they know what's coming. He's not just another bidder, he's the bidder. His movements are measured, precise, as though he's calculating every step, every glance. And when he reaches me, the crowd goes silent. Miss Carter, his voice is low, but there's an undeniable power behind it. A voice that demands to be listened to. Shall we? I swallow hard, nodding as I try to ignore the tremor in my hands. This was supposed to be a simple transaction, A cold and personal thing. But standing here now, with the weight of his gaze on me, it feels different. I follow him to a private room, away from the eyes of the crowd. The walls are painted a deep dark shade of gray, sleek, modern. Everything about this place screams money, power. I feel small in comparison. The cheap dress I bought from a clearance rack at the back of a department store, seeming to shrink under his critical stare. Damian Blackwood doesn't look at me like the others did when they placed their bids. He doesn't leer or gawk. Instead, he simply studies me as though I'm some piece of art he's trying to decode. It unnerves me in ways I can't explain. He takes a seat, his presence filling the space with an overwhelming tension. "You must think this is strange," he says, leaning back casually. "What you're doing, but in a way, I admire it." His words hang in the air between us, making me uncomfortable. Admire it? You admire my desperation? I can't help but laugh bitterly, unable to mask the sting of the truth in his words. "I don't admire your desperation," he replies, his voice even. "I admire your willingness to take control of your situation. You could have gone 1,000 other routes. Instead, you chose this. It's bold." I swallow, trying not to flinch at his compliment. "I'm just trying to survive." He watches me closely, his lips pressing into a thin line. "We all are." I glance at him, unsure of what he means. The room feels too quiet, too heavy with his gaze, as if he's dissecting every part of me. But I keep my head high, trying to remind myself that I don't owe him anything. This was supposed to be business. Then, without warning, he stands up and walks toward the window, his back to me. "You think this is just a night, a one-time deal. I don't blame you, but I'm not interested in what you're offering." "Not exactly." My heart skips a beat. "This wasn't part of the plan." "What do you mean?" He turns around slowly, his eyes fixed on mine, his expression unreadable. "I didn't bid for you because I wanted a night of pleasure, Serene. I bid because I need something more valuable." My breath catches in my throat. "More valuable?" "Yes," he says, his voice cold and calculating. "I need you to help me. Help me uncover the truth. Something personal, something that could destroy me and everything I've worked for." My pulse spikes. "What does that have to do with me? I'm not just a businessman, Serena. I'm a man with enemies, and those enemies are very close to you." My chest tightens. My mother's health is deteriorating, and I'm barely holding on. Now Damien is telling me that I'm tangled in a dangerous game I didn't even know I was part of. "You'll get your money," he adds, his voice low and steady, "and then some. But what I need from you is far more valuable. I need your help to destroy those who have wronged me. You'll do this for me, and I'll save your mother." My heart skips. "You're saying you can help her?" He nods once, his gaze never leaving mine. "I can, but only if you agree to work for me." I take a step back, the gravity of his words sinking in. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was something deeper, darker. My life wasn't mine to control anymore. I'm tangled in his game, and I don't know if I can win, but what choice do I have? As I stand there, staring into his icy blue eyes, I know one thing for sure. My life is about to change in ways I can't even begin to understand, and whether I want to or not, I'm already in too deep. The room seems to close in around me. The stakes are higher than I ever imagined. I force the words out, my voice shaking. "What do you want me to do?" Damien's lips curl into a faint, enigmatic smile. "We'll start with the truth, Serena, and then we see what you're really willing to sacrifice." And with that, I know I've made a choice I can never take back. Damien takes a step closer, his hand reaching for mine. The intensity of his touch sends a jolt through me, and for the first time since this began, I realize just how much I've underestimated him. The tension between us crackles, and for a moment I almost forget where I am, until his voice cuts through the silence once more. "There's just one last thing you need to know, Serena," he whispers, his lips brushing against my ear. "I'm not just after your help, I'm after you." Chapter 2. "I didn't buy you for what you're thinking," Damien says, his voice steady, devoid of any emotion. The words hang in the air between us, cold, calculated, and something else. Something I can't place. I blink, feeling the weight of his stare. It should have been simple. One night, one payment, and I walk away. But now everything's changed. Everything I thought I knew about the situation, about him, is a lie. I don't know what's worse. The fact that he's not interested in me like the other men were, or that he's treating me like an asset in some convoluted business deal. It was supposed to be a night, nothing more, and now he's telling me it was a transaction. I don't even know what that means yet. but the implication is enough to make my stomach churn. You're not here because you're desperate, Serena, he continues, stepping closer. The cold air between us only grows heavier. You're here because you're connected to something much larger than you realize. I take a step back, feeling an unsettling shiver trail down my spine. What are you talking about? My voice trembles, but I can't help it. My pulse is racing. This whole thing is moving too fast. He doesn't answer right away. Instead, his eyes study me like I'm some puzzle he's trying to solve, some riddle wrapped in confusion. His gaze is intense, unnerving, and I fight the urge to squirm. I don't think you understand the situation, Serena. You're part of a much bigger picture. His voice drops lower, and for the first time, I hear something personal in his tone, an edge of anger, maybe even pain. Your family, the people you trust most, they're tied to everything that destroyed my family's empire. Your bloodline is connected to the scandal that ripped my life apart. My heart stutters. The words don't make sense. You're saying my family is involved in this? Yes, he replies, his tone sharper now. But you've been kept in the dark, just like I was. That's the thing about power. It likes to keep the truth hidden. It's messy and it's dangerous. But the truth is, your family's secrets are the key to destroying everything I've worked for, and you're the one who can unlock it. I'm staring at him now, disbelief running through me like ice water. How can you possibly think I have anything to do with your family's destruction? I've never even heard of you until tonight. Damon doesn't flinch at my words. Instead, his lips curl into a small, enigmatic smile. Exactly. You've never heard of me. You've never known about the lives that were ruined because of the people you trust most. And you've never asked questions. He pauses, his eyes narrowing slightly. But you will. You'll help me find the truth. I shake my head, struggling to process what he's saying. I don't even know who you are. I don't know your history. I don't know what you're asking me to do. And frankly, I don't want to know. My voice is rising now, panic bubbling under the surface. You're talking about secrets, conspiracy, and power. This isn't my fight. Damien's gaze hardens, but there's a flicker of something else behind his eyes, something almost sympathetic. For a moment, I'm caught off guard. Why would he look at me like that? Sympathy from a man like him doesn't make sense. I understand why you don't want to be involved, Serena, he says softly, his voice quieter now, almost dangerous in its calmness. But the truth is, you already are. I open my mouth to argue, but he cuts me off. Your family's ties run deep, Serena, deeper than you could ever imagine. And when my family was betrayed, your father was one of the key players. He sold my father's company, handed everything over to those vultures, and destroyed everything we built. He steps forward, and for the first time, I feel a ripple of unease as he gets closer. You think this is about your mother's medical bills? Think again. This is about you and the truth you don't even know exists. I feel my knees weaken. My father, I whisper, the weight of his words hitting me like a blow to the chest. Your father, Damien confirms, his gaze piercing through me. He's not the man you think he is, but I'm willing to bet you didn't even know that, did you? He tilts his head, studying my reaction. I'd say you have a choice, Serena. You can walk away and pretend this never happened, but your family's legacy will always haunt you. Or you can help me uncover the truth, and we can destroy the people who ruined both our families. I'm speechless. I've always known my family wasn't perfect. My father wasn't exactly a saint. But this is a revelation I wasn't prepared for. My thoughts are a whirlpool, spinning and colliding with each other, none of them making any sense. Why me? I finally manage, the words falling from my mouth like stones. Why now? Why are you dragging me into this? Damien meets my eyes, and for a moment, I see something in his gaze. Something raw, something that almost makes me believe his words. Because I need someone on the inside, someone who can move through the shadows, someone who can look at this mess with fresh eyes, and most importantly, someone who isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. My hands tremble at my sides. I want to deny him. I want to walk away. But I can't. Not when the weight of my mother's illness hangs over me. Not when I know that I'm just one step away from losing everything I've ever known. I'm not a killer, Damien. I don't want any part of this. You won't have to kill anyone, he replies coldly. But make no mistake, this isn't a game. If you don't help me, I'll make sure you regret it. You don't know the things I could do to destroy your family. The things you don't even know about. I gasp, fear creeping up my spine. I can feel it, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. What do you want from me?
His gaze doesn't waver. I want you to help me expose the people who wronged me. Help me find the information I need to destroy them. And in exchange, I'll take care of your mother's medical bill. I'll make sure she gets the care she deserves. My heart skips a beat. The proposition hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. Everything I thought I knew about myself, my family, my life, it's unraveling. Your mother, Damien says again, as though reading my thoughts, could be saved, but only if you help me. I close my eyes, feeling the walls of my life caving in. I can't think of anything else but my mother, her fragile form, lying in that sterile hospital room, hooked up to machines that beep with an alarming frequency. I have nothing else, nothing left. I open my eyes, meeting Damien's gaze. My decision already made. You'll help me, he says softly, almost to himself. And when we're done, you'll understand why this had to happen. I nod, barely able to hear the sound of my own voice as I speak. Yes, I'll help you. Damien steps closer, his presence overwhelming as he extends his hand. I can feel the weight of his offer pressing against me, an offer that could change everything. The tension between us is palpable. As I take a step forward, about to reach out to him, my phone buzzes in my pocket. The name on the screen makes my heart stop. It's my father. Damien watches me, his eyes sharp as I glance down at the screen. My hands shake as I stare at the name George Carter. Answer it, Damien orders, his voice low and dangerous. Let's see what he has to say. I hesitate, my finger hovering over the screen. I don't know if I'm ready for what's about to come.
Chapter 3. Why do I get the feeling you're not telling me everything? I asked Damien, my voice hesitant but insistent. We're seated across from each other in his sleek, modern office, the only sound being the faint hum of the air conditioning and the rustling of papers on his desk. I haven't been able to shake the feeling that something isn't quite right, something more than just the revenge he promised. His lips curl into a smile, though it doesn't reach his eyes. You don't trust me? I pause, considering the question carefully. It's not about trust anymore. It's about understanding. I can't help but notice the way he's been pulling away from me, like a man playing a game, one whose moves are carefully calculated but whose end goal I can't quite decipher. The more I spend time with him, the more it becomes apparent that Damien is a puzzle, one that I'm starting to fear I won't be able to solve. I trust you, I say, though even I can hear the uncertainty in my voice. But you're hiding something. I can feel it. His gaze hardens for a brief moment, the mask slipping but only for a second. Everyone has their secrets, Serena, he replies, leaning back in his chair with an almost casual air. And right now, you're no different. It's a cryptic answer, and one that leaves me with more questions than answers. As much as I want to press him further, the tension in the air is thick, too thick. And then, just as quickly, the moment passes. His walls go back up, and I'm left standing on the outside, wondering if I'll ever get inside. I glance at the clock. Time is slipping away, and so is my patient. My mother's condition is worsening. The hospital calls every day now with updates, each one more dire than the last. She's barely hanging on, and I feel like I'm failing her. I should be doing more, but what can I do without Damien's money? Without his resources, I'd be lost, and I hate myself for feeling that way. You should get some rest, Damien says, breaking my train of thought. His voice is softer now, almost concerned, though I don't think he realizes how much that actually unsettles me. Concern isn't something I'm used to hearing from him. You've been at this all day. I want to argue, to push him for more answers, but the exhaustion weighs down on me like a heavy blanket. My mind is spinning, and every second I spend in his presence feels like it's pulling me deeper into something I'm not sure I can escape from. I can't rest, I reply, my voice tinged with frustration. My mother needs me. Damien stands and walks over to the window, his back to me. I watch the lines of tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw clenches when he's lost in thought. I know, he says, his tone softer this time, but there's a hard edge beneath it. And I'm doing everything I can to help. But you need to understand something, Serena. This isn't just about your mother. It's about everything. I frown, confused. What do you mean? He turns to face me, his eyes intense. It's about the past, your past, everything that happened before you and I crossed paths. This deal. He hesitates, his gaze flickering to something unseen. It's not just about money or power. It's about revenge. It's about justice. I swallow hard, my mind racing to keep up with his words. The more he talks, the more entangled I feel in his web. And what does that have to do with me? He steps closer, his presence suffocating yet magnetic. Your family's involvement in this goes far deeper than you realize. I've been doing the digging. I've been getting close to the people who destroyed my family's life. And every single one of them has ties to your father, to you. My heart skips a beat. What are you talking about? My father's not involved in anything like that. Damien tilts his head, his expression unreadable. You think he's just an innocent bystander in this? You think he didn't have anything to do with the destruction of the Blackwood Empire? Think again. Your father was one of the players in this game, Serena. And you're the key to unlocking everything. I feel a cold rush of panic sweep over me. The pieces don't fit. The more he says, the more it sounds like a twisted conspiracy. But I've never been one to shy away from the truth. As much as I don't want to believe it, something deep inside tells me he's not lying. I don't know what you want from me, Damien, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I don't know how I'm involved in any of this. But I'm not playing your game. I'm not going to be your pawn. He steps closer, his eyes locking onto mine, and for a moment, I see something different in them. Something raw, something vulnerable. I'm not asking you to play a game, Serena, he says quietly. I'm asking you to help me bring everything to light. Help me destroy the people who destroyed us both. I hesitate, feeling the weight of his words. My mind is a battlefield, torn between my own fear and the pull of whatever connection we've started to build. There's a part of me that wants to believe him, that wants to stand by his side, to help him uncover the truth, but I can't shake the feeling that there's more to him than meets the eye, that something darker lies beneath the surface. Before I can speak, my phone buzzes on the desk. I glance down at the screen, and my heart skips a beat. It's a message from the hospital. Serena, we need you here. Your mother's condition has worsened. It's urgent. I feel a wave of dread wash over me. I look up at Damien, my chest tight with a mix of fear and helplessness. I have to go. He doesn't stop me. In fact, his eyes soften for the briefest of moments, but it's gone just as quickly as it appeared. I'll have a car waiting for you, but remember what I said. You can't run from this. It's too late for that. I nod, swallowing the lump in my throat as I turn to leave. But before I reach the door, Damon calls out to me. Serena, I stop, my hand on the doorknob. There's more to your past than you know, and if you want the truth, you'll have to face it. I'll be waiting. I don't respond. Can I leave the office and head to the hospital? The weight of his words pressing down on me with every step. I don't know what's real anymore, and I'm not sure I want to. When I get home, the air is thick with tension. I barely notice the shadows in the corners of the room, or the soft rustle of paper from Damien's files, still scattered across my desk. My mind is elsewhere, focusing on one thing, my mother. I've got to get there before it's too late. But as I move through the house, something catches my eye. A file, partially open on Damien's desk. Without thinking, I walk over to it. I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but I feel like something's calling me. I open the file carefully, pulling out a stack of paper. My fingers freeze when I see a name that chills me to the bone. Serena Carter, daughter of George Blackwood. My breath catches in my throat. I stare at the paper, unable to comprehend what I'm seeing. My biological father, and he's tied to Damien's family. Chapter 4.
Damien, what the hell is this?
I hold up the file, my hands trembling despite my efforts to stay composed. The paper feels like it's burning in my hands, and the name on it, my father's name, haunts me in ways I never expected.
Damien doesn't flinch as he looks at me, his expression unreadable, but I see the flicker of something behind his eyes. You found it then, he says quietly, his voice calm, almost resigned. I can't seem to form a coherent thought. My father, my biological father, was a part of this mess, a key part according to the documents, the betrayal, the ruin of his family, and my connection to it all. My father, the man I never knew, was the reason for Damon's pain. He was the architect of the destruction that tore apart everything Damon had ever built. I can't believe it. My head spins as I stare at the papers in front of me, the cold, hard truth sinking in like a dagger to the chest. Damien, tell me this isn't true, I say, my voice tight with a mixture of anger and confusion. Tell me he wasn't involved in this. Tell me my father didn't ruin your family. He leans back against the wall, his eyes never leaving mine. I wish I could, he says softly, the weight of his words settling over the room. But it's the truth. Your father was one of the key players. He was part of the deal that tore my family apart. The betrayal. It was all connected. I stagger back a few steps, my mind struggling to process this. My father was a part of the very thing that destroyed Damon's life. The man I never knew, the one whose absence had shaped so much of my own, had a dark legacy, and now his ghost was haunting everything I was trying to build, everything I had hoped to escape from. I feel the anger rise inside me, the familiar bitterness creeping in. The questions flood my mind. Why didn't I know? Why didn't anyone tell me? Why does it feel like I've been living a lie all these years? You're telling me I'm tied to this. I'm tied to him, I ask, my voice rising with the chaos swirling in my chest. This is my family, Damien. This is my blood, my legacy. And I stop myself, realizing how close I am to losing control. My emotions are too raw, too wild to handle right now. Instead, I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. I look at Damien, really look at him. He's standing there waiting for me to come to terms with it, waiting for me to accept the truth he's just handed me. How long have you known? I ask, my voice trembling but firm. Since the beginning, he admits, his gaze unflinching. I knew the moment I started digging. Your father was one of the first names I found. I never wanted to bring it up, but it's been eating at me. And now you're in this. You're tied to me, Serena, whether you like it or not. Your father's mistakes are now yours to carry. I want to argue, to tell him I had no part in this, that I didn't choose any of this, but it feels pointless. The truth hangs in the air like smoke, impossible to escape from. I sit down, my legs giving way beneath me, the weight of it all crashing down on me. This was bigger than I had imagined. My connection to Damon, the web of betrayal, my mother's condition. It's all tangled together in a way I don't understand. But there's one thing I do know. I can't walk away from it. Not now. Not when I'm already so deeply entangled in this web. You should have told me, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I had a right to know. I know, Damien responds, his voice rough. I wanted to protect you, but I couldn't. Not when it meant keeping you safe from the truth. The truth about who you are, who your father was, and what it means for us. I look up at him, my eyes meeting his. His face is hard, but I see the crack in his armor. I see the vulnerability beneath the raid. I don't know what it is about him, what it is about us, but I feel myself drawn to him. Despite everything, my mind screams at me to step away, to run, to leave this behind, before it ruins me. But my heart is saying something else. It's pulling me deeper into him, deeper into this mess of love and revenge and everything in between. I need time, I say, my voice breaking. I need to figure out what this means, what we mean. Damon steps closer, and for a moment I think he's going to reach for me, to pull me into him. But he stops. The distance between us, a sharp reminder of everything that's happened, everything we still don't understand. I know you need time, he says quietly, and I'll give it to you. But just remember, whatever happens, I won't stop. I won't stop until I make them pay for what they did, what your father did. I look away from him, unable to meet his eyes. I don't know what to feel anymore, but deep down I know that the pull between us isn't just about revenge. It's more than that. It's raw, it's real, and it's dangerous. The next few days are a blur. My mother's condition has worsened. The doctors are giving her only a few more days at best. I'm spending every waking hour at the hospital, trying to make sense of everything. But the weight of the truth about my father is suffocating. And then, just as I think I'm finally beginning to breathe again, Damon calls. I need you to meet someone, he says, his voice unusually serious. Someone who can help us. Someone who can help you understand everything. I don't ask who. I just agree, knowing that I have no choice. Damien and I are in this together now, whether I like it or not. When I arrive at the address he gives me, I'm surprised to find it's a small, unassuming building in the middle of a quiet street. Damien is already waiting for me when I walk in, standing by the door, his expression unreadable. Who is this person? I ask, the nervous energy in my chest making my voice sound tight. Victor Langley, Damien says, leading me into a room where an older man sits behind a desk. His presence fills the room even before he speaks. Victor Langley looks up as we enter, his sharp blue eyes seeming to take in everything in a single glance, his face lined with years of experience, and maybe a little too much regret. Serena, he says, his voice smooth but with an edge of something darker. I've been waiting to meet you. I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. There's something about this man, something that doesn't sit right with me. His calm demeanor doesn't match the unease that prickles my skin. Damien gestures for me to sit, but I hesitate. What does he have to tell me? Damon, Victor smiles, but it's a cold smile. I know more about your family than you think, Serena, and I know what your father did. But if you want to win this fight, if you want to destroy the people who hurt us both, you'll need my help. His words hang in the air, but something about the way he says it makes me uneasy. There's a darkness to him that I can't ignore, and I'm starting to wonder if Damon has made a terrible mistake by trusting him. But before I can voice my doubts, Victor leans forward, his eyes locking with mine. The question is, Serena, do you trust me? The room feels colder, the air feels thicker, and I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore. But I know one thing, I'm in this far deeper than I ever expected. The door closes behind me, and I'm left wondering if the answers I seek are worth the price I'm about to pay.
Chapter 4. Serena. The voice cuts through the room like a blade, and I stiffen instinctively, moving away from Damien's side. Victoria Langley stands at the door, her eyes cold and calculating, a sharp smile playing at the corners of her lips. What do you want, Victoria? I can't hide the tension in my voice. The woman has been nothing but a thorn in my side since I stepped into this mess, and I've had enough of her games. Victoria steps inside without waiting for an invitation, her presence taking up more space than it should. The way she looks at me, like I'm some kind of inconvenience, makes my skin crawl. I think you know exactly what I want, she says, her gaze flicking to Damon briefly before locking back on me. But you're right, I'm here because I think we need to have a little chat. I glance at Damien, who stands just a few feet away, watching the exchange silently. His expression is unreadable, his gaze cold, but there's something underneath that makes my stomach churn. He's too quiet, too distant, as if he's already prepared for this conversation to happen. I don't trust Victoria, and right now, I don't know if I trust Damien either. What is it that you want from me? I ask, my voice steady despite the unease swirling inside me. Victoria steps closer, her heels clicking against the polished floor like a warning. You're in way over your head, Serena, she says, her words slow, deliberate. Damien was supposed to be mine. He was supposed to marry me. We were a perfect match. She pauses, letting her words hang in the air, and then you came along. And now here we are. I feel a pang of something sharp in my chest, but I swallow it down. I'm not the one who decided who Damien should be with, I say, trying to keep my voice from shaking. He made that choice, not you. Victoria smirks, taking another step closer, almost as if she's daring me to flinch. Damien was mine, long before you showed up, and I'm not about to let some random woman take what was always meant to be mine. I can feel the heat rising in my cheeks, the anger building, but I can't let her get under my skin. Not now, not when everything is falling apart, and I'm already teetering on the edge. Damien finally speaks, his voice low like gravel scraping against stone. Victoria, he says, his tone warning. This conversation is over. Leave. Victoria ignores him completely, her eyes still fixed on me. You have no idea what you're dealing with, do you, Serena? She asks, her voice dripping with venom. Damien and I, we have history. We have a future that you can never touch. She turns her gaze back to him, her eyes softer now, almost pleading. You know it's true, Damien. We were meant to be together. I watch as Damien's face hardens, his jaw tightening, but he doesn't respond. It's as if he's already checked out of this conversation, emotionally at least. His obsession with revenge has made him colder, more distant, and I can feel the gap growing between us, one that I'm not sure how to bridge. Victoria steps toward me again, her smile turning more dangerous. You think you know him, but you don't. Not like I do. You don't know the things he's capable of, the things he's willing to sacrifice to get what he wants. And trust me, he wants revenge more than he ever wanted me. She leans in, her voice dropping to a whisper. And that's exactly what you're walking into, Serena. You're walking into a storm that's going to destroy everything you care about. I try to keep my composure, but it's hard. Every word she says hits too close to home. Every accusation makes me question whether I'm in too deep, if this relationship is even worth fighting for. I turn to Damien, but he remains silent, his gaze cold. It's like he's already made up his mind. He's so consumed by his thirst for vengeance that nothing else matters, not even. I'm not afraid of you, Victoria, I say, trying to steady my breath, trying to hold on to the last shred of control I have left. And I'm not afraid of Damien. If he wants revenge, that's his choice, but I won't be part of this war. Victoria laughs, and it's a sound full of bitterness. You don't get to choose, Serena. You're already part of it. Whether you like it or not, you're in this just as much as I am. And if you think you can walk away from Damien, from the mess he's created, well, you're wrong. I shake my head, refusing to let her words sink in. You're crazy, I mutter, almost under my breath. Victoria's eyes narrow, her lips curling into a sly smile. Am I? She asks. You'll see soon enough, and when you do, you'll wish you had listened to me. The room feels smaller suddenly, the air thick with tension. It's like everything is closing in on me. And then in the silence that follows, Victoria takes one last step forward, her voice low and dangerous. I'm giving you an ultimatum, Serena. Leave Damien, walk away, and I'll let you keep your secret. But if you stay with him, I'll make sure he finds out everything, every little thing you've been hiding. I freeze. My heart skips a beat as her words hit me like a thunderclap. Secret. I don't even know what secret she's talking about, but something about the way she says it makes my stomach twist with dread. Damien doesn't react, his eyes still distant. He hasn't even flinched at her words. It's like he's already made up his mind about me, about what I mean to him, and the thought of him finding out about my secrets, it terrifies me more than I'm willing to admit. Victoria sees the hesitation in my eyes, and her smile widens. You're wondering how I know, aren't you? She says, as if reading my mind. Don't worry. I have my ways. I know everything about you, Serena. And if you don't leave Damien, I'll make sure he knows exactly who you are, exactly what you've done. I can feel the blood drain from my face as I look at Damien. But he's still not looking at me. He's still standing there, lost in his own thoughts, caught up in whatever dark obsession has taken hold of him. I'm giving you one chance, Victoria says, her voice cold. Leave or I expose you. I don't know what to do. The weight of her words presses down on me, suffocating me, making it hard to breathe. How much does she know? What exactly has she uncovered? I can feel my pulse racing, my mind spinning as I try to make sense of it all. But before I can say anything, before I can make a decision, Victoria turns on her heel, walking toward the door. She doesn't look back, but her words linger in the air like a dark cloud. I'll be waiting, Serena, she calls over her shoulder. The clock's ticking, the door closes behind her, and the silence that follows is deafening. I'm left standing there, torn between the man I'm falling for and the secrets I've spent my whole life hiding. And then slowly, I turn to Damien. His face is unreadable, his expression cold. Damien, I start, my voice trembling. What does she know? But he doesn't answer. Instead, he walks past me, his footsteps heavy and determined. The weight of everything that's happened, everything I've learned, seems to press down on me all at once, and I don't know if I'm strong enough to face the truth anymore. Chapter 6. I didn't know, I whisper, my hand trembling as I press it against the old photograph in front of me. It's yellowed with age, the edges curling slightly, but the faces are still clear. Damien's father standing beside my mother, both of them smiling. They look happy. Too happy. Damien's voice is a quiet murmur beside me. You didn't know what? He asks, his eyes dark and unreadable. As he leans in, standing just behind me, I trace the outline of their faces with my finger, the cold weight of realization sinking in. My mother, she was having an affair with your father. The words hang in the air like a thunderclap. I wasn't prepared for the silence that follows. It's deafening. I don't look at Damien, but I can feel him staring at me, studying me. I should have expected this, should have known something like this was coming, but somehow the truth is more devastating than I imagined. Damien takes a slow, deliberate step closer, and I feel the warmth of his body heat just inches away. But there's no comfort in it. Not now. I know, he says softly. I found out a while ago. The shock hits me like a punch to the gut, and I stumble backward slightly, trying to steady myself. How long have you known? I ask, my voice hoarse, barely above a whisper. A long time, he replies, his voice low. It was never something I wanted to confront. But when I saw you, when I realized who you were, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I let the words wash over me, my mind racing as I try to process everything. The affair, the betrayal, my mother's secrets, Damien's father's role in all of this, and somehow it all ties back to me. What else don't I know? I ask, turning to face him now, my voice gaining strength, though the knot in my stomach won't loosen. What else have you been keeping from me, Damien? He meets my gaze, his eyes dark but vulnerable, something I haven't seen in him before. He's not the man who's been bent on revenge, the one who's been so cold, so distant. Right now, he looks almost human. There's a lot more, he admits, his jaw tightening, and some things I can't even begin to explain. But I'm trying to figure it all out too, trying to understand why they did what they did, why everything's been a lie. I stand there for a moment, letting his words sink in. This whole world I've been pulled into, this tangled web of secrets and betrayal, it's all based on lies, lies that have been passed down for decades, weaving their way through both our families, ruining lives, destroying trust. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. The anger rises in me, sharp and bitter, but I push it down. I have to be strong for both of us. I can't lose myself in the chaos, not now. I don't understand, I say, my voice quieter this time, filled with uncertainty. How could she do this? To me, to you. Damien exhales sharply, running a hand through his hair. It wasn't just your mother, he says. It was my father too. They both had something to gain, something that's been kept hidden from both of us. I close my eyes, the pain of his words sinking deep into my chest. Why would they do that? Why would they destroy everything? For what? For power? For control? Damien answers, his voice steady, though there's a flicker of pain in his eyes. It's always been about power. They didn't care who they hurt along the way. I feel the weight of it all, the years of deception, the games, the manipulation. I think about my mother, how I never really knew her, how she kept so much from me. The truth stings, sharper than I expected. And then there's Damien, this man I've been falling for, the one I thought I knew. And now I'm realizing that he too is a part of this web of lies. But in his eyes, I see something else, not just anger or vengeance. There's sorrow, there's a need for redemption, a desperate hope that somehow we can undo what's been done. We need to figure this out, I say, my voice steady now, a sense of determination pushing through the haze of confusion. We need to know everything, all the pieces, the truth. Damien nods, his expression hardening. I agree, but we need to be careful. Whoever's behind this, whoever set all this in motion, they won't stop until they've destroyed everything. I meet his gaze, the intensity between us almost palpable now. There's something in the way he looks at me that makes my heart skip a beat. Maybe it's the vulnerability I see in him, the trust he's beginning to offer, or maybe it's the way our lives are now so intertwined, so tied together in this mess, that we have no choice but to rely on each other. We'll do it together, I say, my voice firm, though there's a flutter of uncertainty in my chest. We'll find the truth, and we'll make them pay. Damien steps forward, closing the distance between us. His hand reaches out, brushing my cheek gently. I feel the warmth of his touch, the electricity that's always been there between us. And in this moment, it's more than just passion. It's something deeper, something fragile but real. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you, he says, his voice low, filled with conviction. I promise. I swallow, my heart racing, as I stare up at him. I don't know if I can trust you yet, Damien. I admit, the words coming out softer than I intended. But I want to, I need to. He studies me, for a long moment, his expression softening just a little. I don't deserve your trust, he says, almost to himself. But I'm gonna earn it. I'll do whatever it takes. And for the first time, I believe him. There's something in the way he says it, so raw, so honest, that makes me think, maybe he's not the man I thought he was. Maybe, just maybe, we can build something here together. But as I look at him, the weight of everything presses down on me. The betrayal, the secrets, the danger that's closing in. And I know that no matter how much I want to trust him, the world we're stepping into is dark, dangerous, and I'm not sure I'm ready for what's coming next. Just as I'm about to say something more, something in the distance catches my attention. Sound,
I turn quickly, but when I look back, Damien is already gone. I'm alone in the room again. The photograph still clutched in my hand. Confusion floods my mind. I know I heard something, but Damien isn't here. The silence feels suffocating. Then my phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out, my heart racing as I glance at the screen. A message. I know everything. You don't think you can trust him, do you? Watch your back. I freeze, the words sinking into my skin like a cold blade. I don't know who sent it. I don't know what's happening, but something tells me I'm not the only one who's playing this game, and now I'm not sure who I can trust.
Chapter 7. Serena, what the hell is this? Damien's voice is low, dangerous. His hand trembles slightly as he holds the file in front of me. Its contents a blur of black ink and damning details. His eyes burn through me, not with the fury I expected, but with a deep, aching disappointment. I feel the color drain from my face. This isn't what I anticipated. This isn't how I imagined it would unfold. The hidden connections, the lies, the secrets. It all seems to be coming undone before my eyes. I didn't know. I stammer, my voice shaking as I try to take the file from his hands. But he pulls it back. He's been more guarded lately, more distant. But this is different. This feels like a crack in everything we've built, or thought we had. Damien stares at me, disbelief in his eyes. You didn't know? Your name is all over this, Serena. All over everything. The leaks, the sabotage, the destruction of my empire. This is your mother's doing, isn't it? The accusation hits me like a slap across the face. I try to steady myself, my hands gripping the edge of the desk. But my thoughts are spinning. I don't know what he's talking about. Not fully, but I know enough to know that this could ruin everything. All of the fragile trust we've started to build. The strange, complicated feelings between us. It's slipping through my fingers like sand. I don't know what you mean, I manage. Though it's a lie, I can't breathe as I sift through the storm of conflicting emotions. I didn't. My mother, she has nothing to do with this. I didn't even know she was involved. Damien's eyes narrow. So you don't know about the meetings, the phone calls, the deals she's been making behind my back? I shake my head, trying to make sense of the chaos surrounding me. I have no idea what he's talking about. My mother has always been a mystery, a distant figure in my life. But this is something I never imagined. I never thought her shadow would reach this far. I swear to you, Damien, I don't know, I whisper, my throat. If you can't believe me, then I don't know what else to say. His face softens for the briefest moment, but it's gone as quickly as it came. He steps back, running a hand through his hair in frustration. I want to believe you, Serena, really do. But it's too big, too dangerous. Someone is playing us, and I don't know who. The air between us feels thick, suffocating. My chest is tight, my hands clammy as I try to make sense of it all. My mind races, searching for an explanation. But there's only one thing I know for sure. Whoever is pulling the strings is smarter than both of us, and they've been waiting for the right moment to strike. What are you going to do, I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. I don't want to sound desperate, but I feel it. The weight of the situation, the unraveling of everything I thought I understood. I don't know, he says, his voice colder now, but I won't let them win. I'll protect you, Serena, even if it means I have to do it alone. The words hit harder than I expect. Alone. It's the one thing I feared the most. Being alone in this fight. Alone without Damien. Alone in this mess of lies and betrayal. I'm not going anywhere, I say, my voice trembling slightly, as I step closer to him. I'll fight with you, we'll do this together. But even as I say it, a nagging feeling settles deep in my gut. Is it really enough? Will our shaky alliance hold? And if it does, at what cost? The next few days blur together. Damien becomes more distant, retreating into his world of strategy and deception. He's pulling away, keeping me at arm's length, as he digs deeper into the conspiracy that's threatening everything he's built. The more he isolates himself, the more I find myself questioning my place in all of this. There are moments, brief ones, when I think he's letting me in, when I think we're on the same page. And then there are moments when I feel like a stranger to him, an afterthought, a pawn in a game that's far bigger than either of us. It's on one of those nights, when I'm sitting in the quiet of the penthouse, my thoughts swirling like a storm, that I get the message, you're being watched, don't trust anyone. The words hit me like a blow to the chest. My heart skips a beat, and I immediately look around, my gaze darting to the shadows in the corners of the room. The walls feel too close, too oppressive, and for the first time in a long while,
I'm not sure if it's just the weight of the situation or something more. I glance at my phone, trying to shake off the feeling of dread that's creeping up my spine. I don't know who sent the message, but the words are clear. Someone's been watching me, watching. I try to push it out of my mind, but it lingers like a whisper in the back of my head, a constant reminder that I'm not safe, that none of us are. By the time Damien returns to the penthouse, I can tell something's changed. There's a tension in the air, a heaviness that wasn't there before. His eyes are dark, and there's a tightness in his jaw that I recognize all too well. He's been dealing with something he's not telling me. What's wrong? I ask, my voice cautious, as I stand to greet him. He doesn't answer right away. Instead, he walks past me, his movements stiff, before stopping at the window and staring out at the city below. It's happening, Serena, he says, his voice strained. Everything we've been trying to stop, it's already in motion. I feel my stomach tighten. What does that mean? It means, he says, turning to face me, that someone is about to make their move, and it's going to hit us both harder than we prepared for. I nod, trying to steady my breath. I can feel the walls closing in again, the pressure mounting. I want to help, want to be part of the solution, but I can't shake the feeling that everything I do only seems to make things worse. Then, as if the universe is just waiting for the right moment to strike, the door bursts open. I barely have time to react. Strong hands grab me, pulling me from the floor, and before I can scream, a cloth is pressed to my mouth, the smell of something sharp and chemical overwhelming my senses. My head spins as the world goes black. I wake up in darkness, my body stiff, my head pounding. My eyes dart around, trying to make sense of where I am. Cold, too cold, and there's an eerie stillness to the air that sends a shiver down my spine. A voice cuts through the silence, and my heart skips a beat. Serena, Damien's voice calls out, frantic, desperate. Where are you? I try to call out, but my throat is dry, and no sound escapes. I'm trapped. Suddenly I hear footsteps, heavy, purposeful. A man's silhouette emerges from the shadows, and my heart sinks as I realize I don't recognize him. And then the worst part, the part that makes my blood run cold, is when he speaks. Damien's not going to be able to save you this time, Serena. Everything inside me freezes. The danger is real now, more real than ever before. And Damien, he's running out of time. The weight of the situation presses down on me. He's made his choice. Now I'll have to make mine.
Chapter. You really thought you could escape this? Victor's voice echoes in the dimly lit room, his words dripping with an almost gleeful malice. The sound of his footsteps across the cold floor is the only other thing I can focus on as my heart pounds in my chest, racing with fear. My mind is still foggy from the sedative they'd slipped into my system hours ago, but it's beginning to clear. I know where I am now, an abandoned warehouse somewhere outside of the city. The metallic scent of dust and decay hangs in the air, and I can hear the distant hum of traffic in the background, but nothing is comforting. Everything feels wrong. Victor moves closer, his presence as imposing as ever, his sharp suit and the cold glint in his eyes making it clear that he's not here to negotiate or offer mercy. I try to keep my composure, my breath shallow, but controlled. What do you want, Victor? I manage to choke out. My throat feels like sandpaper, but I can't afford show any weakness. Not now, not when everything is falling apart. His smile is slow, almost amused, as though he finds my defiance laughable. Oh, Serena, it's not what I want. It's about what Damien wants. Or rather, what he thinks he wants. I recoil, my pulse quickening. Damien, the name tastes bitter on my tongue. I know he's coming for me. He has to be. But the deeper I dig into this mess, the more I question if he's already too late, if he's been playing the game all wrong. You didn't think it was all going to be this easy, did you? Victor chuckles, his hand running through his dark hair in a familiar, unsettling motion. You and Damien, you're both so predictable, always playing the part, thinking you're in control. I swallow, trying to keep my panic at bay. Damien, the thought of him is both my anchor and my weakness. Everything I fought for with him feels suddenly uncertain, slipping through my fingers like water. I don't understand, I whisper, trying to piece together the tangled mess of lies and betrayal. What does this have to do with Damien? You've been working with him all along, haven't you? You've been part of his life for years. Victor's laugh cuts me off, harsh and cruel. You really think it's that simple? He sneers,
stepping closer until the tips of his polished shoes almost brush against my own. Serena, don't be naive. I've been orchestrating this entire thing from the very beginning. My chest constricts. I can't breathe. My mouth dries out as the realization crashes over me like a wave. Victor's hand has been behind everything. The sabotage, the lies, the conspiracy to tear down the Blackwood Empire, and most of all, my betrayal. All of it. He's been controlling it all, including me. I never wanted you to be part of it, Serena, he says, his voice lowering, turning almost sympathetic. But you're a means to an end, aren't you? That's the thing about people like you and Damien. You think you control everything. You think you have the power. But in the end, you're just pawns in someone else's game. The bitterness in his tone stings. So what is this? A power play? You've been using me this whole time, Victor. Not just you, he says, his eyes gleaming with cold satisfaction. Damien, too. He thinks he's been playing me. But all along, I've been the one pulling the strings. And now, he pauses, a sly smile curling at the corner of his lips. Now it's too late for any of you. I feel the ground shift beneath me. Everything I've thought I knew about this world, the people I thought I could trust, has crumbled. The man I've given my heart to, the one who's become more to me than just a business partner, might have been a part of this all along. The thought is nauseating, but I can't let myself believe it. I can't let myself think that Damien has known about this from the beginning. Suddenly, my head aches with the weight of this new truth, and I feel as though the walls are closing in around me. Victor, seeing my distress, leans in even closer, his breath warm against my ear. Damien's not coming for you, Serena, not the way you think he is. He's already playing into my hands. You've already lost him, Damien. I close my eyes as his face flashes in my mind, his strong jaw, the way his hand always seemed to find mine when I needed reassurance, the fire in his eyes whenever he spoke of his empire, all of it. It was all supposed to be real. I thought we were real. But now Victor's words are like poison, seeping into my veins. They're filling me with doubt, eating away at the love I thought was building between us. What if Damien has been working with Victor all along? What if he's been a part of the game from the beginning? I can't bear the thought that everything I've been fighting for with Damien was built on lies. Victor steps back, allowing me a moment of clarity, and for a brief second, I allow myself to breathe again, to think clearly. Why are you doing this? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. Victor repeats, raising an eyebrow as if the answer is too simple. Because it's what's necessary. Your precious little Blackwoods and Montclairs, their empires need to be dismantled, and you were just the right leverage to make it happen. I can't speak for a moment, my mouth drops. The room feels like it's spinning. He's done it. He's played us all. Me, Damien, everyone, and now I'm in the middle of it with no way out. You're just a pawn in my game, Serena, Victor continues, and I hate how calm he sounds, how sure of himself. And now the real fun begins. Before I can say anything, before I can even think to push against his control, the door to the room bursts open. My heart leaps in my chest, my breath catching in my throat as I turn toward the figure standing in the doorway. It's not Damien. Someone else. Victor, the voice says, cold and clipped, but there's something familiar about it. A voice I recognize, a voice I never thought I'd hear, a voice that freezes me to the core. Victor's face twists with anger, his jaw clenching. What the hell are you doing here? And then, as if the entire world suddenly shifts, the figure steps fully into the light. Damien, but not the Damien I thought I knew. His eyes are hard, distant, and there's no warmth there. Only calculation, only purpose. I take a step back, my body going numb, my heart sinking into the pit of my stomach. Damien, I croak, my voice barely a whisper. What's happening? What is all of this? Damien doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he looks at me, his gaze cold, unreadable. His eyes flick briefly to Victor, then back to me, and that's when it hits me. Everything I thought was happening, the love, the trust, the connection, had been a carefully crafted illusion. Damien isn't here to rescue me. He's part of this plan too. A rush of nausea fills me, my knees going weak as I stare at him in disbelief. I want to scream, to run, but the world feels like it's collapsing around me, and in that moment, with the truth of the situation finally sinking in, I realize it's too late to stop what's already been set in motion.
Chapter 9. You lied to me. I whisper, the words catching in my throat like a blade. I can hardly breathe, but the raw hurt in my voice cuts through the air between us. Damon stands there, a cold, detached expression on his face, as though he's been waiting for this moment for far too long. The last few days have felt like a blur of broken trust and shattered illusions, and yet here we are, on the precipice of something far worse than I could ever have imagined. I didn't lie to you, he says, his voice low, but his eyes never leave mine. I just didn't tell you everything. The silence between us is thick with the weight of everything that's happened, everything I thought we had built. His words, though soft, still carry the sting of betrayal. I want to believe that there's more to this story. But his lies have been too much to ignore. You didn't tell me everything, I repeat, unable to keep the venom from my voice. What, Damien? That you were a part of this from the start, that you've been using me just like everyone else. His jaw tightens at my words, but he doesn't flinch. You think I wanted this? To drag you into this mess? His voice softens, but it's still full of the anger and frustration that's been building in him for so long. I've been trying to protect you, Serena. I never wanted you to get caught up in this. But you were always a part of it, whether you liked it or not. I shake my head, my mind racing. The pieces are starting to fall into place, but the picture it's forming is one I don't want to see. And Victor, you were working with him all along? The words taste bitter as they leave my lips, and I can hardly stand to look at him, but I force myself to meet his gaze. Damien's expression hardens, and I see the flicker of guilt in his eyes. Victor, he was never the enemy, Serena, not in the way you think. He's been a part of this for a long time, but he wasn't the mastermind. We're all just players in a much bigger game. My heart skips a beat. What is he saying? How much of this was orchestrated from the very beginning? Why am I still standing here, listening to him try to justify this mess? I open my mouth to respond, but the door slams open before I can get a word out, and I spin around in shock. It's not Victor who enters the room. Someone else. Someone I never expected. I think we've heard enough, the man says, his voice smooth and cold. His presence fills the room with an unsettling intensity. The world tilts beneath me as I recognize him. James Montclair. The name doesn't make sense at first. I thought he was gone, out of the picture. But here he stands calm, composed, a shadow of a man with dangerous power behind him. He takes a step forward, and Damien's posture stiffens. James, Damon says, his voice low, filled with something that sounds like resignation. Damien, you've been playing the game for too long, James says, his eyes never leaving mine, and now it's time for you to realize that your revenge won't get you what you want. Not anymore, not when the truth is out in the open. I turn to Damien, my mind spinning. What is James talking about? What truth is he talking about? I don't understand, I say, my voice shaking, but the fear in me is growing by the second. What is happening? Why is everything falling apart? James steps closer to us, and his smile is chilling. You really don't get it, do you? He asks, glancing between us. You thought you could fight your family's wars. You thought you could avenge all the wrongs. But you were never in control, not like you thought. Damien's fists clench at his sides, and I can see the muscle in his jaw twitching. What do you mean? He growls, barely able to contain the fury in his voice. I've been fighting for everything you took from me, for everything you stole from me. James doesn't flinch. That's your problem, Damien. Your revenge, your vendetta, it's been clouding your judgment all along. You've let it control you, and now look where you are. I feel like the ground is shifting beneath me, and I want to scream, to demand answers. But the truth is slipping further out of my reach with every word they exchange. Damien steps forward, his voice sharp. What the hell are you talking about? What's this about revenge? James smirks, almost pitying Damien. You think it's all about Victor and his games, don't you? You think you've been fighting for justice, for your family's honor. But the truth is, it's about something far deeper.
something that none of you have been prepared to face.
Enough! Damien roars, taking a step toward him, his eyes flashing with anger. You can keep twisting this however you want, but I'm done playing games. This ends tonight. James shrugs, as if he's bored with Damien's outburst. If you think so, he turns to me then, and his gaze holds a coldness that sends a shiver down my spine. But Serena, you've been the pawn all along. You've been the one Damon has been trying to protect. But he's never seen the truth, your truth. And now you have to choose. Choose who you really want to be. I glance at Damien, my heart breaking with every passing second. His anger and pain are so evident, but there's something else in his eyes now, something I don't recognize. And then it hits me. This is all a game. This is all part of a larger scheme, one where neither of us has ever been in control. I want to ask him, what truth, Damien? What are we missing? But the words don't come. Instead, I stare at him, searching his eyes for the man I thought I knew. The man I love. I step back, my heart pounding in my chest. Damien, what is happening? The words leave my lips in a soft breath, almost a plea. What did James mean? What truth am I missing? For a long moment, Damien doesn't speak. He just stands there, looking at me as if he's searching for the right words, the right explanation. But I can see the hesitation in his eyes. He knows something I don't, and he's afraid to tell me. Suddenly, a loud crash reverberates through the building, followed by the sound of voices shouting. The chaos that had been simmering beneath the surface has finally erupted, and everything is about to change. Before I can process what's happening, Damien grabs my arm, pulling me toward the exit. We have to go, now. But as we reach the door, I freeze, my heart stopping in my chest. The truth is clearer now than it's ever been. The war between our families has never been about revenge. It's about the truth that neither Damon nor I are prepared to face. And now there's no way back, no way to undo the damage that's been done. With one last look at Damon, my heart torn between love and betrayal, I whisper, Damien, what are we really fighting for? The room falls silent. The only sound is the pounding of my heart, and then everything shifts once more. The final confrontation has just begun. Chapter 10. The sun was setting over the horizon, casting a warm golden hue across the city skyline. I stood at the edge of the balcony, the cool breeze tussling my hair, and tried to absorb the quiet peace that had settled around us. It felt surreal, as if this was a dream that I might wake up from at any moment. The world was still a blur of memories and emotions that I wasn't sure how to process. The battle had ended. The war between the Blackwoods and the Montclairs. The web of deceit, the lies, the betrayals. They were all over now, but the scars left behind were deep, and the aftermath had claimed more than just our reputations. It had cost us our trust in each other. Serena. His voice broke the silence, and I didn't need to turn around to know he was standing just behind me. His presence had become a constant, one I wasn't sure I could live without. I took a deep breath and finally faced him, meeting his dark eyes that now seemed less hardened and more vulnerable. He had always been a man driven by revenge, by the need to right wrongs, but now there was something different in him, something I had been waiting to see. I'm sorry, he said quietly, his voice rough but sincere. I've said it before, but I'll say it again, for everything. For the lies, for the manipulation, for bringing you into this. I swallowed, my emotions threatening to overwhelm me. For so long, I had wanted to hear those words, but now that they were here, they felt like both a salve and a wound. He had broken me, and I had let him, but that was then. We were no longer the people who had started this journey together. We had both changed. You don't need to apologize anymore, I replied, my voice steady though my heart raced. We're both responsible for the choices we made, for everything that happened. But we're here now, and I'm willing to rebuild with you. I saw a flicker of relief cross his face before he stepped closer to me, his hand reaching out. It trembled slightly, but I took it, feeling the warmth of his touch seep through. I don't deserve you, he murmured, and for the first time in a long while, I believed him. Yes, you do, I whispered back, my thumb brushing the back of his hand. We've both been through too much to let it all go now. The weight of everything we had faced hung heavy between us, but there was something freeing about this moment. We didn't need to fix everything right now. We didn't need to understand it all. What mattered was that we were here together. And that was as he pulled me into his arms. I let myself fall against his chest, the familiar scent of his cologne grounding me. The danger was over. For now, at least. The city seemed quieter now, as though it too was taking a breath after the chaos. We could finally move on. But as I closed my eyes, my mind replayed the moments when everything had shifted between us, when love too complicated to explain had risen from the ashes of everything we had been through. I realized then that love wasn't just about the good moments. It was about the pain, the suffering, the redemption. It was about the choices we made in the dark and the courage to face the light again. The moment felt perfect, like the end of the story. But then the phone in my pocket buzzed, and I pulled away from him reluctantly. Damon watched me, his eyes narrowing with concern as I pulled the phone from my pocket. "It's Victor," I said quietly, my stomach clenching. I hadn't heard from him in weeks. Damon stepped back, his expression hardening. What does he want now? I didn't have an answer, but the pit in my stomach told me that it wouldn't be good. Hesitantly, I answered the call. "Serena." Victor's voice was smooth, almost casual, but I could hear the underlying tension in his tone. "I see you've managed to make it out alive. Quite the achievement, considering everything that's happened." "Victor, what do you want?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, despite the way my heart was hammering in my chest. "Oh, nothing much," he replied, his tone shifting just slightly, a hint of something darker creeping into his words. "I just thought you should know that the story isn't over. The pieces are still moving, Serena, and you and Damien are still very much a part of it." A cold shiver ran down my spine. "What are you talking about?" "You'll see soon enough," he said cryptically, "but I'm afraid the game isn't finished. The end is still to come." Before I could say anything else, the line went dead. I stared at the phone in my hand, the blood draining from my face. "What's going on?" Damien's voice was tight, and I could feel the tension rising between us again. "Victor," I said quietly, my voice barely a whisper. "He said it's not over, that the game isn't finished." Damon's jaw clenched, and I saw the familiar fire of determination flare in his eye. "This isn't over," he repeated, almost to himself. "We'll deal with it, Serena. Whatever comes, we'll face it together." For a moment, I allowed myself to believe him, to believe that we could face whatever came next together. But deep down, something told me that Victor's words weren't just a warning. They were a prophecy. As we stood there, holding each other in the quiet aftermath of everything, I realized that while the battle might be over, the war was far from finished. And in this world of shifting allegiances, hidden motives, and ever-present danger, the one thing I knew for sure was this: we were no longer the people we were when it all began. We had fought for our love, and we would keep fighting, no matter what came next. But as I looked into Damien's eyes, I saw the same resolve, the same fear of losing everything we just fought to rebuild. We weren't out of danger yet, and our story, our love, was far from over.
If you enjoyed this Billionaire romance audiobook, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an exciting new story. Your support means the world. See you in the next one.